Welcome to T for Two, the Terminator 2 show. I am your host, your Uncle Casey, and it's a brand new year. We've got a lot of fun Terminator nonsense to cover in 2020, so let's get started. Happy New Year, everybody. Ow! Fuck! This year on T for Two, we're finally going to start exploring some of the many awesome and not so awesome video games based on the Terminator franchise. But before we get into the arcade game, or the pinball machine, or the many home console games, we're going to start with one of the more obscure titles, one that was made before Terminator 2 Judgment Day ever went into production. Now, our younger viewers have probably never played a Tiger Handheld game before, so let me explain. Back in the 80s and the 90s, when it came to portable video games, for the most part you really only had two options. You either had a Nintendo Game Boy, for which you could purchase all sorts of different games to swap out as you pleased, or you had one of these, Tiger Handheld LCD games. These were individual games. They didn't have cartridges that you could swap out in order to play something else. And Tiger licensed all kinds of properties to make into handheld games, like this one, based on Batman Returns. I'll be honest, a lot of these games were downright awful. But these two examples were actually pretty fun. But we're not here to talk about Batman, are we? We're here to talk about The Terminator. This was produced in 1988, and I really had fun with this one as a kid. But before we get too far into it, make sure to hit the subscribe button below for more fun, pointless Terminator nonsense. On T for Two, we cover everything from production to promotion, marketing to merchandising, and everything in between. And if handheld video games are your thing, we're going to be covering this one in the future. But today we're talking about this one, The Terminator. The object of the game is pretty simple. Fight your way through Terminators, save the world. There are four main stages of futuristic mayhem, each divided into 4 sub-levels. The packaging describes it as having 16 levels of peril from the future, but in reality, once you fight your way through the 4 submissions of the first level, those 4 missions just repeat with greater difficulty 3 times until you've done them all 4 times for 16 levels total. You have 3 lives in the game. Your remaining lives are shown as handguns in the upper right-hand corner. The controls are very simple. On the left side of the console, you've got your directional pad for moving your character about. And on the right side are 2 buttons, your weapon button to select a weapon, and your fire button to fire your weapon. There are 3 different weapons that you collect as the game progresses, and they each only work against a certain enemy. So you've got to always make sure that you're using the right weapon for the job. In the first mission, 1-1, there are infiltrators coming at you, and you're armed with a pistol.
The 45 long slide with laser sighting.
These are brand new. We just got them in. That's a good gun.
As the Terminators approach, you aim and fire to take them out. Pretty straightforward. Notice that they're all wearing leather jackets with popped collars, and half of them are wearing gargoyle sunglasses, just like Schwartzy did in the movie. In the next mission, 1-2, there's an assault rifle that you can add to your arsenal, which is used against the laser towers, which don't look like towers, they look like boxes. Nonetheless, they shoot lasers, which don't look like lasers, they look like balls. The laser towers don't advance or retreat, they just move left to right, and they move slowly, so as long as you don't step into their line of fire, they're pretty easy to take out. In mission 1-3, you add a rocket launcher to your arsenal, which is used against robotic arms that reach out to grab you. Like the laser tower boxes, these arms only move left to right, but they seem to move a lot faster than the laser boxes do. So at this point you've got 3 different weapons and 3 different enemies, and you've got to switch out your weapon depending on what you're shooting at. Pistol for the infiltrators, assault rifle for the laser towers, and rocket launcher for the robotic arms. I like how the rocket launcher looks like it's shooting big wobbly pellets. They look drunk. The final submission of each stage simply adds in the Terminator, which is a huge naked endoskeleton. And he can't even hurt you. He just stands there looking menacing and doing his impression of the Statue of Liberty, while his friends attack you. To take him out, you blast the hell out of him with your rocket launcher until he's gone. This, of course, has to be accomplished while fighting off hordes of infiltrators, laser boxes, and robotic arms. We'll be right back after these messages.
Go west,
男の温度が上がった。飲んでまた飲みたい。缶入りコーヒーウエスト。
Go west.
So once you've defeated the big endoskeleton and completed the 4th submission of Stage 1, you move on to Stage 2, which basically means that you're starting over, using a pistol to take out infiltrators, but this time there are more of them, they're smarter, and they're faster. So although you're kind of starting over, the missions are definitely more challenging this time around. So overall you have 4 missions, which you repeat 4 times, each time with greater difficulty, until you've gone through all 16 levels and completed the game. Which I've never done, because it gets pretty chaotic and really difficult. Ah, shit! Damn it! Ah, you bastard! Ah, fuck! But you're not missing anything by not seeing me beat the game here on T for 2, because all that happens when you finally defeat that big endoskeleton for the 4th time is the game says, Game Over, up in the top right-hand corner. But if you want to see the full gameplay of this handheld, in the description below is a link to a video of someone who is far better at this game than I am, and he plays it to completion in 1 shot. One nice thing about these games is that they usually featured a sound button which toggled the sound on and off for when Mom yells, "Lights out!" because it's a school night, but it's only 8:30, and you're not tired, and you want to play some Terminator. So all you have to do is mute the sound, and try not to cuss too loud when you get shot, and Mom thinks you're asleep the entire time! Well, that about does it for our look at the Tiger handheld game of The Terminator from 1988. Again, not all handheld games were good, but I think this one was great, and I like it for 3 main reasons. First, it's easy. The concept is simple. Stop the Terminators. Second, it's fun. Not all of these games were fun, but you saw me playing it. I think the gameplay speaks for itself. And finally, although it's easy to start out, it becomes very challenging the further you progress along. My only complaint would be that it gets a little repetitive, but that can be said about most of these handheld games, so it's really not an issue. When it comes to old Tiger handheld games, I give this one a rating of... I guess we haven't really rated anything on the show before. 2 cybernetic thumbs up. Or whatever. The point is, if you're a Terminator fan, it's worth tracking one of these down on eBay. You'll often see auctions demanding as much as $40 or $50 or even $100 for one of these just loose out of the package like this. But you're not going to see those auctions get bid on very often. If you're patient, you can snag one of these for $20 or $30, which isn't too bad considering that they originally retailed for $20 back in the day, which would be about $40 in 2019. Hope you liked this episode of T for 2, the Terminator 2 show. If you did, make sure to please hit the like button below so that YouTube will know to share this video with more Terminator fans. That is the easiest and most helpful way that you can support this show. And until next time, I'll be back. Just trying to come up with a good sign-off.